Hi, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Knitting Yak virtual edition. Today's guest is our friend Joji Locatelli.
Hi, Joji.
Hi, Paula. Hi, everyone.
Nice. Thank you for doing this with us.
Thank you. I don't have anywhere to go.
Me either. And I saw so many other people that are joining us.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
I'm just saying that I'm getting more and more nervous about doing these things because, especially with you, I don't know why. I was so nervous. I know that's because you do so many. This is just the fourth one.
I think it's great. I was just watching the one that you did with Sari, and I was halfway through. I'm so glad that you're saving them to your Instagram TV. Yeah.
It's nice. How is it going? Oh, even from New Zealand. Look at that. It's Italy, New Zealand, America. We have them. Berlin. It's nice how these chats are really connecting us from all over the world.
They are, and I have been feeling the last week I haven't been able to produce any chats because I was like, so with my mood. And I found that I went looking for these conversations and, to keep my mind off things that worry me. And I'm so glad that we have so much content now to go and, keep us company. So I'm glad to be a part today. Thanks.
Yeah, it's, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read some of the messages as well at the same time. So if you have any questions, remember, you can just type them in. Some of them they go very fast, so I have to try to catch up.
Yes.
And but we'll try to do what we can to to focus. And if you don't see us answering, just retype the question again.
Yes, retype 1,000 times.
You got nothing. So I hope you all have your knitting. I see that Joji has.
I have mine.
I have mine.
Mom is fine. For everyone asking about my mom is fine. She's just fine. She's by herself. Nothing can get to her. So she's doing fine. Knitting, yes.
You can still get to her with the food and everything? Or?
Yes, so she's only 2 blocks away. I only came into her house twice. She had a bad back pain like 2 weeks ago. So because I know how to apply shots to her, I could come into her house wearing a face mask and keeping my distance. But I try not to. I really try not to. We do the shopping. Her house has a little hallway. It's like a 2-house property. So there's another house in the front and my mom's house is in the back. So we leave groceries there. It's funny because we still share knitting. So she still makes part of my knitting and she leaves it in the hallway. I pick it up and yes.
Oh, that's nice. Yes. You have a little knitting basket going back and forth.
Yeah, so we are super connected, but I mean, if I have to go into my mom's house for some reason, I will go into my mom's house. We have also been keeping inside. I haven't been outside my house for 3 weeks. So I know that I will most probably not bring any virus to her. So if I have to go, I'll go. But if I don't have to go, I won't.
Yeah. So and how is homeschooling going?
How is your homeschooling?
I see a lot of those stories of like.
Yes. So hello, everyone who's joining right now. Homeschooling has proven to be, it's a beautiful thing to do with my children. I only do it with my youngest, with Sebi, because my eldest is more independent and he's now in secondary school and his school is more on top of things. So he receives a lot of instruction with Zoom. But my youngest, not so much. And
how is it? How old is he?
So he's 12. But he's dyslexic, and so because his school is not giving any video conferences, he's struggling, going through all the homework by himself. And first week I started like super motivated. I had all these, activities, and I completely put my knitting aside and I dedicated myself to just homeschool Sebi. And then week number 2, I was, I really miss my knitting. I wish we didn't have to do so much English homework. And week number 3 is like, when are you going back to school?
Well, you lasted 3 weeks.
Yes. But now I'm only partially kidding. It's really nice to be able to spend time with him, and I mean, they are both so easy, and so well behaved, and like I'm really, really enjoying it. I just miss knitting because everyone says, have you been knitting a lot during the quarantine? And no. How about your schooling, Paula? How is it going?
I mean, the same. She's only 6 years old, so she needs my attention like 24 hours a day, not just during the classes. And the teacher just sent us a lot of PDF and instruction on what to do, and then say at the end of the day, upload homework. And I'm like, oh,
exactly.
So by the time I try to catch up, now we're waking up early anyway, like 7 o'clock. So at 7 is math time.
Yes.
So because she's fresh, so 7 is math time, and I made a chart and everything else. But sometimes it's hard. I'm just, I bet she's 6 years old. She wants to knit. She wants to knit.
I think knitting is great for math. I think we do a lot of math with knitting.
Yeah.
But also they have to do their their regular calculations.
But it's like we alternate between the homework and some more fun stuff. Yesterday we did a lot of little Easter egg stitching. So I taught her how to stitch and to to create little flowers. I mean, we do what we can, but it's hard because you think you have a full-time job, trying to stay afloat like everybody else.
I think it's even harder now because we're not just trying to do our job. We know that, everyone's struggling to do their job, not just because we have to homeschool, because the economy is so. So we're trying to do our best. At the same time, we're trying to be motivators and entertainers and, to congregate our community around us.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of new jobs that we are trying to do, which are really important. I know that for you, it's the same. Community is very important for me. I feel like now my job as a knitting communicator is not, it can't be just patterns. It needs to be something like this. It needs to be a way of bringing relief and comfort to everyone part of our community. So constantly we're thinking all of these things while at the same time trying to do our business to feed our families. So it's going to be interesting time. It's going to be an interesting time.
Somebody was asking if you do a lot of cooking.
Well, I'm lucky that way because my husband has always been the one who's the cook in the house. I do some cooking, but he does most of the cooking. So at least I don't have to worry about that.
Okay, when this is over, you can come here and you can do the cooking.
Yes. No, I know. I'm really, really lucky. He doesn't cook, fancy meals or anything very complicated, but he's on top of that. He's like, he knows when it's time to start getting dinner ready and lunch ready, and he's also at home, staying at home. So we're doing.
There was one of your Zoom knit time where he was coming in and out with his freezer. It was so funny. He was trying to stay that he can't stay without his meat. So he was like pulling and pushing the freezer.
Yes. Well, it has, I think that the freezer, what Paula is referring to is like we did a live YouTube video and we were like just talking about knitting and my husband entered the house like pushing a new freezer into the house because we already had heard that we were going into total lockdown and Charlie couldn't be without his meat. So it was really, really funny.
It was really funny. And well, anyway, let's talk a little bit about knitting then. What are you?
Yes.
What are you?
Let me. I think it.
Yeah.
I think I'm a bit dark. I think this.
Yeah, I can actually see very well, but.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah.
So now I am knitting a shawl made in 3 colors. It's a fade from green to pink. And it's a very simple shawl. It's going to be a part of interpretations this year. And I am already almost at the border.
Yeah.
So hopefully soon I'll finish. Let me get. What are you working on?
I'm actually, thank you for asking.
I saw your stories today.
I cast it on this morning. When Faraway Dreams came out, which is just, was the last week or no? Was that 2 weeks ago?
Yes, 10 days ago.
Yeah, and I think we still have a special on the pattern, yeah? Until
Yes,
the end of April,
I think it's throughout April.
Throughout April. I saw it and I thought, I mean, this is perfect. I mean, you don't have to think. It's just so mindless knitting for the center part because it's all garter stitch, is it? Yes.
Yeah, the center is just like a garter stitch wrap, and then you pick up the stitches and you work a lace border around that.
Yeah. And
someone says, how can you knit and talk? Well, I can't knit and talk everything, but if it's like a simple pattern, I can. If it's something more complicated, then I wouldn't. Otherwise, I would be completely silent. I would never, because I'm knitting all the time.
Wow. So I thought it was this is a great project because it's you can just watch your TV, Netflix, even do homework. That's one of the things I found.
Yes.
I was doing something else and I thought like, okay, I had to keep interrupting myself. I was trying to do math and trying to do some writing with my daughter, and I just could not do it. I couldn't concentrate. But this one is perfect. So I'm actually doing it, making it with actually this is what I did. This is as much as I did today. So
what yarn are you using?
It's Baby Yak, the 100% Baby Yak lace weight, but held double. That makes it really beautiful, light finger.
I like that color a lot.
And this is the Lazy Day, which is a sort of like gray purple, which I know you like. Yes. And pair it with the oatmeal, with the natural oatmeal.
Very nice.
That's going to be that.
It's going to be super.
I hope so. That was the other option that I had with the dusty pink and the oatmeal. But then I thought, let me try. I always work with this color.
You always use the dusty pink, yes.
So I thought, okay, let's do that. It's still purple. It's still in my colors, and so this is what I'm going to work on, and and it's really nice. And I hope I can just work on this, not today while I talk to you, otherwise I get confused, but definitely something. But, I think maybe we should talk about how we met and what was the projects that you did with our yarn.
Yes, I have both of them here.
Good.
It's nice. I don't always have my samples with me, but this is my favorite shawl. It's my favorite shawl, I have to say. It is. If you have ever seen me traveling around the world, I'm wearing this shawl always, every time, because I really like it. So Paula we met for the first time when I was teaching in Vogue Knitting Live 17.
Yeah.
So that's 3 years ago.
Yeah, wow, yes.
And Paula was very nice, and she said, anytime that you need yarn, just let me know. And then I think later that year we were traveling in. Do you remember how I got my yarn?
Yes. We were traveling to Bainbridge Island, to Portsmouth.
Yes. So we were traveling in Washington State. We were visiting Seattle, and everyone recommended we took the ferry to Bainbridge Island to visit Church Mouse Yarns and Teas. We were visiting as tourists. We were not doing any work. And so when I get there, the owner of the store says, Paula saw that you were coming here and she wants you to take some yarn for a design. So I couldn't refuse. Refuse. Yeah. And it was fabulous to see the yarn there again and to see the colors and, to have time to decide. Sometimes when I'm at the show, it's difficult to take a moment to pause and decide what I want to make. And so I chose 5 skeins of the Baby Yak worsted, the medium.
Yeah.
In the mustard.
Yeah.
Which of course is my favorite color, but Paula has now prohibited me. She was, it's forbidden. I must not use this color again.
Nothing with mustard again.
Why is that?
It's funny because mustard, and it's good that you have it on, because I want you to show somebody who's asking again what type of yarn. So this is our medium weight. Is 100% baby yak, and this is dyed on the natural desert. And as you can see, even on the screen, you can see that this is slightly darker than what Hohi has been using. And especially if you put it on, you know, in the photos that you have in the design, it is a shade darker, because we don't bleach the original yarn at the base. And so depending on what the base is, if the base is darker that year, we you know, we get a darker. Sometimes it's dark and sometimes it's lighter. So, but somehow this has become so popular in our that we cannot keep up. You know, the production is, we have so much desert that which is the base for this color, and we have like 10 colors that go on.
So desert is this one, right?
Yes, that's the natural desert. So it's dyed on that. And so it's like, and so many people love it, and every designer asks about that. So if every designer design on this color, and then every person that wants to, you know, most knitters tend to buy what the designer makes. I would just have to make the color and nothing else. So
I have nothing against that.
I mean, we will try. We actually, you know, we had this in product. This has been sold out for a little bit, you know, since we had to go. The virus started in China, so our production in the sourcing has got really complicated. Finally now is fine, so they went to work. But then
but your mill is in Italy.
The mill in Italy is in lockdown, so hopefully now they have extended to the 15th of April. And somebody's asking about the name of the shawl. The shawl is the Hipster Shawl.
It's called Hipster Shawl.
Hipster Shawl, because we are all hipster girls.
Yeah.
And this has been so popular. I mean, this has been such an incredible pattern for you. I mean, you know, in all times.
I have to say, I never think my patterns. I never think them very much. They're usually just random things that I need. Especially this one, I kept the yarn and used probably for 6-8 months, and then I had to travel again to Canada by myself. I was going to go on an adventure. I was going to go, you know, travel solo for the first time before work, and I decided to take the Baby Yak with me to think of something inspired when I was in Canada. The truth is that it has nothing to do with Canada. I remember being in my hotel bed and thinking, what can I do? I need a knitting for tomorrow. I need something easy and, you know, simple and nice. It doesn't have to be something complicated, because I was going to meet people, and I just started a crescent shaped shawl, and I added this it's called Indian cross stitch. It's also called broomstick stitch. So I didn't plan for it to be a popular thing. It was just a nice, you know, shawl. I think the yarn says a lot about the shawl. I think the yarn, I'm in love with my shawl, and I know that a lot of it has to do with the yarn that I use for it. So I don't know. I guess we were both lucky.
We were both lucky. I mean, I remember Alison, that this wonderful knitter and friend that used to work with me or help me out here in New York. She was knitting the sample for us also in mustard, the same color, because we were flying to Stitches West in California that year that you published. So she finished it on the plane. I remember that on the plane, like, you know, she just finished it up, and we didn't have time to block it, and we had it at the show, and everybody knew about it already. So that show, I could just keep selling that yarn.
Oh, that's so nice.
I have other patterns. But everybody,
I have other colors.
Something else. I have other colors, and that's how also I met Tracy from. Oh, there she is. Tracy from
Tracy.
she came in with her hipster shawl in the ochre, and you know, she's so wonderful and smiley and such a powerhouse of, like, you know, like beaming joy. And I was like, wow, look at that, you know, it's like everybody's knitting this. It was really, really nice. They talked about it on Grocery Girls, and I'm sure you all know about the podcast Grocery Girls. If you don't, just go and watch them because they're hilarious.
They are.
They talked about it, so you know, that was really good. And you know,
Hi, Tracy.
Most popular color. And then,
hi, Terry.
Oh, look at that, Terry too. There's so many people coming on. And then, because you were not happy to just do one very popular pattern, you decided to do the hipster cowl.
Yes, so I'm gonna wear now the cowl.
I think I'm going to do that too. Oh, I got my label here.
So this is even easier.
Yeah.
And my thought was, because I wear my shawl all the time, like I literally wear my shawl all the time, then I probably will enjoy having something that is similar but not the same. I would have made it in mustard, but Paula didn't let me. And
but you
yeah,
did a beautiful natural color. Yeah.
Yes,
yes,
I really like it.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I remember asking for gray, but now I understand why you cannot make gray, because this is your natural.
Yes.
So this is the desert color.
Yeah.
And
somebody just mentioned that they made it in a Tibetan sky, and this is it. This is Tibetan sky.
That's super nice.
It's a really, really nice blue. Just gonna make it closer. Blue gray. And
I love that color.
We had this huge debate, you know, what color is this? Green? Is this blue? Is, you know, to me it's just Tibetan sky. It really is.
Yes.
The color.
It's a gray sky.
Yeah.
Gray skies.
So it's really nice. So it's very hot in here, so there's no way I could keep this one on. And somebody just mentioned that maybe I should have marked the two yarn together to make your faraway dreams, because I used two lace weight. Amy suggested that. And thank you, Amy, for suggesting it now instead of yesterday when I called you about it. I'm not frogging now.
No, I think it's a good idea, but I think I would do, as you said, with a solid color. I think it will be because then you have to do the lace. I think it will be more bold.
I think so. Yeah. But you know, I think there's so many color combinations that you can do. And one of the good things, and I've seen you wearing your hipster in so many of your travels, which of course each time.
All of them.
Like, yes. And it doesn't.
It's like I don't have other shows, right? Like, what should I bring? I just need this one, and then like it's always in my suitcase.
Yeah. Because it's very warm, but it's also very light.
But it's very warm, and that's why I bring it. Because when I travel, I pack very small. I don't pack any clothes that I'm not going to wear. I don't need to change clothes unless they are dirty, because I'm with my family, and it's not like I'm, you know, when I travel with my family, it's not like I'm having meetings, or I don't have to be fancy and wear a different outfit every day. I can wear what I feel comfortable with every day, the same clothes. So I only need a scarf if I am going to be cold. I don't need to have a fancy scarf as an accessory for beauty. I need it for, you know, for the, how do you say? It's a utilitarian thing that I carry with me. So so I always carry my shawl, because if I always put it in my backpack or in my tote bag, because if I'm cold, if anyone is cold, then it serves as a scarf, as a hat, as a hood. It's big enough. It's always big enough.
And somebody was mentioning that they've done theirs in the burgundy and Tibet and the night flowers. So here is that color.
So nice. Is that the one that I have to design with?
No. You have the burgundy, I think.
Let me see.
Yes. And talking of which, I think you also have the petrol. While she's, oh yeah, that's the bird. Yeah, it is. Oh yes, there you go. Yes, it is. Yes. And you have two more colors, yeah?
Yes.
You have the moss. And
I have a skein of mustard.
yeah, I know. I think I think you did. Grab it.
I'm gonna take it.
Don't take it. Please don't take it.
I did. I took it.
But no, I mean, if you want, by all means, to design anything that you design, we are super happy. So, but one thing I wanted to tell you is that among all of our customers and all the wonderful retailers that we have, one of the very popular one of your design that has been super popular is the I'm very organized. This
oh, okay, yeah, this is perfect for.
Sweater. And I, when I read the title of it, I was like, also, probably everybody's making it with a light yarn, but everybody has instead it calls for a heavier yarn, and
wow, that's so nice. Yes, the yarn is perfect for it.
Yeah. This sample has been, actually, there is a wonderful store here in New York, just outside of New York in Mount Kisco. It's called Pick Up Every Stitch. And all of the owner, Felicia,
yes.
Her sample. This is her sample, which I asked so kindly to, it's a bit small for me. That's why I'm not wearing it. To borrow it for the chat.
Oh.
I had a trunk show in that store a few months ago, and I was so surprised because when I arrived, the entire staff, Felicia, Karen, all the others, they were wearing this.
I remember that photo.
Yes, so I took a picture and
that's amazing. Yes,
it's so beautiful, and this is done. You can do it in any of the colors that you like, but this is done in the midnight blue, the Tibetan sky, urban nature, and Kenyan. And
I like that together. One of the things that I like about the smaller skeins is that you can play with different color stripes. So maybe you only need one skein of the yarn for each of those colors, so you can add more colors without having to necessarily purchase more yarn.
So this is it's a nice sweater. It's still light, so for even for early spring, when we will be able to get out of our houses.
And another thing that, sorry, it's, of course, I'm talking with the owner of the company, so I want to say nice things about the yarn, but, I would say these things, even if I wasn't talking to Paula, is that the yarn holds really, really, really well. I'm really impressed with how soft it is, and like this shawl, it has gone through a lot, and I'm not careful with it. I don't just wear it all the time. It goes into my bag all the time, which is when garments suffer the most friction, because you just toss it in your bag and then you pick it up, and it's back and forth all the time, and it's absolutely the same as it was when I just finished knitting it. So I don't own a garment made out of the medium yak, but I think it's perfect for garments.
Maybe one in mustard. Just saying.
Maybe if you had given me more.
Well, we will figure that one out. But and you also, of course, you have so many different patterns that is difficult to talk about all of them. But I want to talk about one of my other favorite of yours, which of course we've made a samples. We're trying to make samples, but this is your freezing point, which has been such a popular pattern as well. Do you want to talk about, before I show my sample, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so that pattern was a follow-up on a mystery shawl that I did before. So in 2017, I did a mystery shawl that was built in the same way as the shawl that you're going to show. It's work from both ends towards the center. And the original pattern called Starting Point had different stripes and mix of textures and, you know, twisted ribbing and eyelets and things.
Sorry,
And then...
to interrupt you. Somebody's saying there is an echo. I can hear an echo of your voice too.
Oh.
You have my... I can hear my voice through your computer.
Maybe I can disconnect and reconnect.
No, I think maybe you just lower the volume, lower the
Let me see.
volume.
Yes. Maybe.
Can you still hear us, guys? Or do you have earphones?
Yes. Actually, I have earphones. Hold on.
Okay. Sorry, I just... some people have an echo, so I'll be trying to make this enjoyable for everybody.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you just...
Is this better?
Press a thumb up if you can stay. Yeah, for me it's much better because I don't hear the echo. Oh, the echo is from Paula. Okay. Now, but I have them too. Let's see. Can you hear the echo now? Can you hear me, Jorge?
I can hear you perfectly, but I was not hearing any echoes. Someone says much better, so yay.
There you go. Like a bit more, but yeah. Talking about fading point.
Yes. So the follow-up was I really like the construction and I really like to work that way. So I decided to do, because fade was like 2018 was the year for fading. I decided to do a faded version of it. So it's different. It has, you know, different stitch counts and different motifs, and it adds a component of a fade or a transition from one color into another color. So that's that. You need 5 colors, and I've seen your sample. It's really nice.
So what we did with this one, we used our Baby Yak's, the Baby Yak silk. This is the natural color. This is 50% Baby Yak and 50% silk. And we have mini skeins, which allow us to do many more colors. And there is, of course, with the pink, had to be, is the palette that I had chosen to make this sample.
So how many of those mini skeins do you need for your sample?
3 skeins, 3 skeins per color. And let me just double check to make sure that I have. Yeah, so it's 3 skeins in 5 colors, and the colors are the natural prana, the more grayish chanda, which I know that you like very much. The purple is called gelso, like the gelso, and samsara and ananda. All of these
very nice
wonderful names. And here is the shawl. Let's see if I can show it in all of its beauty.
That's gorgeous.
It's really, really nice.
And it feels lovely. It's very drapey, very silky, very elegant. I had, you know, the opportunity to see it in person. Yeah. It's beautiful.
And this is something, you know, I wear this one a lot and it's still in perfect condition. It's, I like it even in the summer. I hate air conditioning. So no matter where I go, especially here in New York,
I get clammy hands and feet when the air conditioning is high, and I get sometimes very sweaty. So I try to also carry something like a cardigan or a wrap if I know I'm going to be with the air conditioner all the time.
So this one is definitely, and our Baby Yak silk is so good for any of your patterns because any of your shawls is really incredible. But talking about shawls, I want to talk about, and I don't have any more samples in our yarns, so feel free to talk about other yarns. But I think, one of the wonderful things about you is that you are such a generous designer as well. Not only you're trying to, to help so many other people, you're trying to bring people together. You give so much to this community.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
And this is like one of the examples of what you've done
that to me was, so touching. It's such a beautiful design, and it's a free forever design, correct?
It's a free forever design, yes. So I also designed that pattern in Canada, coincidentally. But it was a pattern that I had saved for later. I was going to save it for later. And February last year, we were traveling in Italy. And as we were traveling, our family was, we were sharing photos of our trips. And far from people, sometimes when someone travels, they receive criticism, or people just don't care about what they're doing. Far from that, everyone on Instagram was really enjoying our trips, or that was what they were telling us, that they felt like we were bringing them on a trip with us, and they were happy that we were showing all these amazing places in Italy. I just felt really, really fortunate that, one, I had the economical resources to do that, to be able to afford that. And then also to be able to share it, and with that inspire happiness and not, bad feelings. I felt so fortunate. And at the same time, I felt I had been feeling pressured by a lot of knit-alongs and events happening that required people to spend a lot of money, because you either had to, buy this expensive pattern or buy this expensive yarn kit. And I wanted to do something that was just free. I didn't want to give my pattern away for a certain period of time. I didn't want it to be something like, if you can't afford it, let me know and I'll give you the copy for free, because I wouldn't want to let anyone know that I don't want to, that I can't afford the pattern. So I wanted to give something back. We felt so lucky at the time during this week. We felt so blessed that I thought, this is what I want to do today. Yeah. The funny story about this shawl is that we were actually in Sicily when I published this pattern. The night we arrived into Sicily, we went to have dinner in a restaurant in Catania. No, in Taormina. We went to have dinner at a restaurant, and I was wearing my shawl. So the next day, I wake up in the morning and I tell my husband, I want to do this. What do you think? Do you think people will like it, and like they will be happy with, having a free pattern? And he said, yes, I think so. I think if this is what you want to do. So I wrote the story of why I wanted to publish this pattern, and it came out as a free pattern. And that night, I realized I had lost my shawl before publishing it. Oh. So I talked about this in my journal. I took it as a message, as like, if you wanted to give something away, you really had to give it away, because I think completely, because I think I left my sample at the restaurant. So afterwards, I looked for it all over the place. I probably had left it at the restaurant, but we were already on the move. So yes. Oh, wow. And I just love that everyone's so motivated by that design. It makes me happy every time I see one.
I do recall when it came out, I immediately, of course, I downloaded like other million people, knitters, and then I went through and I said, oh damn, it's on a DK weight. I don't have a DK weight. What do I do? I put 2 strands, 3 strands. I was like, oh. So at the time we were talking about coming out with a DK weight and hoping to have our new wool, the Tibetan cloud. Was still, we were just talking about it, and I kept saying to Andrea, can we do something with the wool? And I must say that when I was thinking what kind of weight where we were going to do for this one, and I said, well, I need a DK. I have already a few patterns that I need to. so no, this Odyssey is just one of the reasons why I went for a DK weight.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And I have all of the colors, and of course, I don't have, I will probably have some greens, but you know, these are my color choices.
Oh, that's very you.
This is
Very happy. Yes.
this is
I wouldn't
yeah.
like if I see that combo, I wouldn't think of any other company.
So this is going to be my Odyssey coming up. So that's is you know is wonderful. It's very very nice and it really speaks to your generosity. You know that's why probably you know not only you're a wonderful designer, but I think people follow you because of who you are and what you give, and you know you really wear your heart on your sleeves, and I can see you know each time we meet it's like you know the sun is coming into the room, and I'm not saying just
Oh,
because you're
thank
in this
you.
chat, but you know it's something. Oh yeah,
Thank
let
you,
me see.
Paula.
Yeah,
That means a
but
lot. Yeah.
I
Thank
have,
you.
and you know, I follow a lot of your, of course, of your live, your chats, and your meetings, and I think each time I see a new design, I think that is, you know, it's one of the, you know, nicer of the other. But you want to, you know, the names, the get together, right?
So that name was it was because that pattern was initially designed for a Christmas, an advent calendar. So there was this store and they were putting together kits. They were, you know, weighing and fractioning all these different yarns that I had used, and they had a big customer base. So they were able to, you know, send it to a lot of people. And so I wanted to create, like, the purpose of this advent calendar was that by December 24 you get a wrap that you wear at Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
some of the yarns that I use have these stellina, so some of them are very fancy, and I added beaded tassels to the ends. So it was supposed to be like a Christmas or an elegant wrap, right? And Christmas, I thought, like, what do you do on Christmas? You get together with your loved ones. You get together with your friends or your family. And also, it was also being constructed in that way in which both ends come together, like they meet in the center. So I thought, yeah, this name is really...
It's really nice. And all of the yarn that you have in there from, you know, Madeline Tosh with Georgia, La Biename, Anzula, and
yes,
so many
they
others.
were all
It's
getting
really,
together in my wrap.
yes, it's really, really nice. It's definitely, and I love the colors. And but I have a few others that I want to talk about it. Maybe I should ask, do you have one favorite besides the Hipster Shawl, of course, which we know is your, is your
I
favorite?
love it. I really love it. No, Paula, I really love them all. There are some designs that I say, yes, okay, this is a nice design, but all of them, because I am not, contrary to what most people think, I am not such a fast knitter. I need a lot of time, and I need a long time, and my mom helps me. But each pattern that I made has been part of my life. There was something going on when I needed that. There was a reason why I started that. There was a person behind the yarn that motivated me to make that pattern the way it is. So everything I make is it's probably a bit improvised, but the choice of pattern shape and the choice of yarn always have something that is imprinted in me. So I like them all. I always have something special to say about all of my designs, all of them. All of them have a little story. They have been with me to somewhere in the world, or they have, you know, been my company through hard times or through really happy times. So I don't have a favorite.
It's you have a pair of sorry, first let's talk about the last pom pom issue. I mean, you were in the cover of
Yes, that was a
issue
surprise.
32.
I'm so happy.
Do you want to talk about that, because that's a beautiful design. That's just really
Thank you.
really stunning. I just love it. I saw a few people that I know that have made it, and it's really 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 beautiful.
Thank you.
And
so
the name is sorry, the name is Susurro.
Susurrus. So pom pom chose the name for that.
Yeah.
But it means like whispers,
The whisper,
and like a secret whisper or something like that. When you
In
whisper
Italia we say
some,
sussurro,
in Spanish we say the same, yes.
Yeah.
And so last year I was struggling with my motivation to finish design. You know what happens when I don't feel very deeply about a design? I feel I'm cheating people by publishing something I am not in love with. So what happened is that I felt no motivation to finish any of the things that I had on my needles. And so I asked Pom Pom if they had a submission. Sorry, it's also hot here. I asked Pom Pom if they had a submission open. Hold on.
I think I can hear. Maybe the echo was on my side. If you want to keep them on.
I'm just gonna keep them on. So they said, yes, we have the spring issue open if you wanna make something. And they sent this beautiful mood board with, so the basic concept that I took from their mood board was that they wanted to work with transparency. So in the images they sent, there were a lot of see-through garments and like gauzy pieces. And so I thought, it would be nice to pair a solid yarn, like a thicker yarn, and something super thin like mohair that it's see-through. I had already experimented with Elton, a cardigan that also uses a single strand of mohair striped with a merino, and people seem to like that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try this again, like in a different setting, but this also this kind of striping. And also the super simple summer sweater that you showed before was a shape that the feedback was, this is a nice shape, it's easy to make, it's easy to wear.
Yeah.
It's modern. So I thought, why not combine these two things that people seem to like into something new, something delicate that, has something to do with Pom Pom's mood board. So that's how I came up with the Susurrus design. I wanted to work with Pom Pom because they could give me a guideline, and then they could be my motivation to work. They could be the reason why this design makes sense right now. And the see-through and everything. So honestly, I had no idea I was going to be in the cover. I had nothing to do with the amazing art direction and production. For me, it was a surprise. The choice of the model, the choice of the styling, which is stunning. It's something that I think that we were all waiting to see in magazines.
Yes.
And I just had the privilege to be on that cover, and it's something that I will cherish forever. That I was so fortunate.
And you deserve it. Yeah, it was a beautiful design. All the designs in the issue definitely are
They
beautiful.
are. They are amazing.
Yeah, it's really nice. And going back and talk to about Elton that you mentioned, you have I saw you looking around. You have a
No, I was going to. No, I don't have it. I was just going to turn on the light.
Okay. I can see. I think it's best without actually, but sorry. Yeah, it's much better without.
It's just getting darker.
And, I saw a sample. Susan from Loop London we hosted Susan for Loop pop-up in New York in November. We try to do it every year, and she brings all these incredible. She brings sort of Loop store in New York, and one of the most popular kits that she had, and remember it was hanging on the wall, and everything was really whimsical there with little birds, was your Elton. And I kept seeing people going in that corner, getting the yarn. It was a beautiful kit that she made. And I saw how popular Elton was, and you're right, you're very similar in a way to the simple summer sweater, and very simple, elegant, easy to wear, something that you can put on your dress, wear with your jeans. You can just go anywhere, something that you put in your suitcase and and just throw around.
It serves really many purposes.
Yes, and And I think that somebody was saying that they just cast on some of your cardigan and they love your cardigans. And of course, I'm organized. So here I am with Night Out, something that we all want to, something that we all
I
want to
look
go.
so fancy. I feel like right now
Look
at
at
home.
that. Oh, you always look so beautiful. And do you want to talk about, let's talk about the cardigan first, but then let's talk about your photography as well.
So the cardigan took forever. So that sample was made using Woolfolk tinned, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
their fingering
Yes.
weight. It's a fine
Yeah.
fingering weight. And the gauge is very, very small. But, you know, I wanted a black cardigan that would be light and easy to wear. And, you know, I was determined. I started, and then it took me years to finish it.
But it looks very pretty. I see the design on the side and the
Thank
sleeves.
you,
I mean,
Paula.
it's really beautiful. And that dress, the way you are, just a picture of this. I mean, just a photo.
Thanks.
It's
Thanks.
so pretty. You know, I want to
So
come to
we
your
were
summer
lucky.
house.
Yeah, so we were lucky. Just behind our summer house, there's a liquid amber tree. I don't know if that's the name in English too, but these are trees that have very colorful foliage, and they turn they are even more colorful than oak trees. So they turn from very, very lush green into very, very red. And, you know, we were photo shooting this, and I was going to wear that dress, and I looked out and I said, well, the tree has the same color. Can we go there? So, yeah, so my photographer is my husband. He's by no means a photographer. He has no idea how to operate a camera, but he knows how to press the shutter. So I know how to operate the camera. No, I'm not a photographer or anything like that. But when I got my first camera, I, you know, took some lessons to learn how to change the settings and everything. So basically, we do a first round of photos when I shoot him with the camera, and I say,
Okay,
look at
then,
this. So you need to frame the photograph in the same manner. So now I'm going to run there, and like he's been doing that now for several years. So he knows how to compose a photograph better, and he's very patient. And yes, so I'm lucky.
Good. Yeah.
I don't have to use a tripod. I can ask him.
Yes, just that. But talking about wonderful photographers, you have been collaborating more than once with Yona and Sini from Line.
Yes.
They did the photography for interpretation, correct?
Yes. So Yonna did the photos for our 6th book. Yonna and I are close friends. She has visited me, and I have visited. So
yeah. And they're both wonderful, but Yona is such an incredible, I mean, both Sini and Yona are incredible photographers. And you also have a pattern in the 52 weeks of socks, correct?
I do, yes. So the book is a beautiful book, 52 Weeks of Socks by Line magazine. These are mine.
Yeah, so gorgeous. I mean, finding 52 different ways or even more to photograph socks have not been easy.
I know.
Each one is incredible. It's really nice. Yes.
I know. And yes, so my pattern, if you want to try it, is nice because it's DK. So they grow super fast. It only takes 1 skein of DK weight yarn. And
I think I have plenty of DK here. So yes.
Yes.
No, but I think, you know, so many people have been knitting socks, and you have done a few designs for socks as well. Yeah.
Yes, I have several now. Yes. I am knitting another designer's sock pattern now, but actually I just remember I have a pattern that I need to publish.
There you go.
For some socks, but like I don't know where my mind is these days.
A good reminder for that.
Yes.
Another interesting pattern that you have. So I'm going through all of my favorites. So you know, of course, this is very personal. I'm sure other people have other patterns that they love of yours. You have so many of them, so I had to make a choice. But sometimes I just like the story behind it or how you came about. And this one, the pebble tunic, you can see with this little pocket. It's interesting how it came about. If you want
That
to
was
tell us
also
about,
born in Italy. Another one that
maybe
was
that's why
born
I
in
like them.
Italy.
Maybe
Yes.
that's why I like all of this.
Yes. So I was walking on the streets of Rome with the family on that same trip that I told you guys before, and I was so cold, and I had my hipster, but it wasn't enough. And so I decided to buy something from the street. I didn't want to buy something expensive,
Expensive.
but in a, in the rush of a moment. Italy is not very cheap to buy clothes. So I decided not to rush into something that would cost something like, I don't know, 100 euros or similar. So I decided to buy something from the street. And I found this very, very cheap tunic. But, it was gray. It was basic with 2 pockets. And, I can wear this. It's nice. And I ended up wearing that tunic the whole trip. It was just perfect. It was what was missing in my wardrobe, probably. So I came home, and the tunic was, by the time I came home, the tunic was already showing some healing, and it was not holding up as nicely as the Baby Yak. And so I decided to replicate it. Well, it took me a while, but eventually I came up with the pebble tunic, which is almost an exact copy of that tunic that I was wearing. It has a nice boat neck, and it has pockets. On the back in the inside of the pocket, it has reverse stockinette stitch, which I really like.
I see that, yeah. I can show
Yeah.
it.
And it has
can
like
see it
droopy
better.
pockets. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's going to show in the video, but
Much,
yes.
but yeah, I can see that, yeah. And it's also a DK. So you see,
It's
it's perfect.
also in DK, yes.
Hopefully you have enjoyed yourselves, and we will see you next time.
Thank everyone. Thanks, Paula.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao, ciao,
Bye. Ciao,
ciao.
ciao.